Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering Jubilees, chapters 28 through 30.
Crazy.
Little stumbling block there.
Yeah.
Are you dying?
Yeah.
That sucks.
I got the COVID.
No, you don't.
Well, that's a bummer. Well,
Don't lie about that.
No, I don't. If I had the COVID,
You'd be in a bed in some
Yeah,
other house and
I would
not
be-
allowed
or
here.
you'd at least have a
Asleep.
mask. Unless you're just a dick.
Yeah, jeez. None of
nah,
us had it.
No.
I'm just gonna cough and sneeze all over everyone.
Okay, that's reasonable
That's my goal.
too. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good goal.
It's a performance art piece.
Of course. I love performance
Just
art
like
pieces.
this reenactment of Jubilees.
Yeah.
You know,
This is
we
our
could
stage play.
we could perform this. We're not going to, but we could
Oh,
Would it
man.
make it better?
You know, it would be really
Probably,
cringy
yeah. if we did this.
if we did the Song of Songs.
That would be cringy.
It would be so cringy.
Yeah.
Well, we play instruments, right? So,
No, not really.
well, I play
mean,
an instrument.
You're the
or
only
six.
musician here.
You
can
have
I can play an instrument.
okay.
Ken.
Can you hit a drum?
Yes.
Well, that's all I need you to do.
Okay, great. You got it.
Incredible. Yep, we'll play the Song of Songs.
Well, anyways,
Anyways.
welcome everybody to the show. I don't know why we had that conversation, but we did. And
Because we're rereading Genesis today.
effectively, yeah.
Yep.
So continuing Jubilees here. What translation do you have?
I have the James C. Vanderkam Hermenia translation of Jubilees.
You know what? I actually have the same thing, but it also has a commentary.
That's incredible.
It is incredible.
I'm blown away.
Lots of good stuff in this commentary. And I mean, those are really the only two things that we need, honestly.
Yep. I mean, we have all this other crap.
Yeah, that's for different shows and future shows and other things that we're
Shows
doing.
of futures past.
Yeah, we got the Book of Mormon, too.
We do have the Book of Mormon. Yes. So just as soon as, I mean, I'm not sure how we're going to do this because, we're going to be starting the Quran show, and we also, we have the Book of Mormon here. So probably when we're done with the Bible.
Yeah, probably when we're done with the Bible, or maybe as if we run out of crap to go over in Friday Apocryphal.
Oh,
That's not going to
impossible.
happen.
That's impossible.
Yeah, not going to happen. But either way, we got the Book of Mormon too. So either way, how about we hop into Jubilees? We're starting with chapter 28. And in this chapter, there's a quick mention to it. So we'll get there eventually to the Amorites. So yeah, we're just excited for that to talk about that a little bit.
And they're the descendants of one of Noah's other sons.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so that's what they are.
Either way, we can hop into the reading here with 28, but I will introduce it. So Jubilees 28:1 should convince readers that the author is not interested in telling good stories for their own sake. He skips.
no.
I know, right? That explains a lot. He skips over the meeting with Rachel at the well so thoroughly that one would never guess from Jubilees that the event even took place. He could, of course, assume that his audience would know the full story in Genesis 29. His purpose was to draw the essential points from it for understanding the message of Genesis as he read it. Hence, he gives only the basic details and sacrifices the literary appeal of the story in the process. Now, of course, last week we were going over Rachel being a horrible person.
Yeah, we also went over Jacob's ladder in brief.
Yeah, very briefly.
Yeah.
Was that last week? Really?
Yeah, that was the previous chapter where they literally all they say is that that night he dreamed a ladder was set up on the earth and its top was reaching heaven and the
Wow.
angels of the
Definitely,
Lord
yeah,
were
that was
going
last
up and
week.
down.
Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah, so short that I forgot it was even last week. Okay.
Yeah. It's a very small piece. He also doesn't wrestle with an angel.
Yeah, that's
That's
not in
really
there.
weird.
Yeah.
That's like a major part of his story.
It really
in the
is.
Bible. Anyways, the title of this chapter is Jacob Gains a Family and Acquires Wealth.
Good for him.
What a generic
Although,
name.
let's be fair, he the acquiring of
Let's
the
just
family
hear it
wealth.
for how generic this name is. It's great.
Yeah.
What a title. Really
Incredible.
engaging.
There's a subtitle,
Oh, boy.
Marriages and the Law of the Firstborn Daughter.
Ah, okay.
A little
That
less
should be
generic.
interesting,
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little less generic, but
Oh,
wow.
boy. I love
Gain a
it when it's-
family and acquire wealth.
Yeah.
Incredible. He set out on foot and went to the eastern land, to Laban, or Laban. It's Laban?
Yeah, Laban.
Yeah,
I think,
it's Laban. Rebekah's brother. He remained with him and served him in exchange for his daughter Rachel for 1 week.
So there's some interesting stuff here. The author uses the expression that Genesis 29:1 employs for Jacob's travel. Literally, he lifted his feet and went. Where the Hebrew versions of Genesis 29:1 say he reached the land of the sons of the east, Jubilees, with the Septuagint tradition, uses simply the land of the east, translated here as the eastern land. It also extends the verse beyond the text of the Masoretic and Sumerian Pentateuch, again in agreement with the Septuagint tradition, by adding to Laban, Rebekah's brother. Unlike the textual tradition, Jubilees includes nothing about Bethuel or about Rebekah's being the mother of Jacob and Esau. Yeah, cross-reference 27:12, where of all the names in the Genesis parallel, 28:5, only Esau's is omitted.
During the first year of the third week, 21:22, he said to him, "Give me my wife, for whom I have served you 7 years." Laban said to Jacob, "I'll give you your wife." Laban prepared a banquet, took his older daughter Leia, and gave her to Jacob as a wife. He gave her Zilpah, his servant girl, as a maid. But Jacob was not aware of this because Jacob thought she was Rachel.
So,
They're twins.
yeah, so
Identical.
Yes.
like Genesis 29:24, Jubilees mentions in this setting Laban's gift of his maid Zilpah to Leah as her servant girl. Genesis says nothing about how the substitution of Leah for Rachel took place, much less how it succeeded. Jubilees adds to the end of its citation of Genesis 29:24. Yeah, but Jacob was not aware of this because Jacob thought she was Rachel.
He went into her, and to his surprise, she was Leia.
Wow.
That tells
How-
you how he figured out the difference between them.
I suppose it does. There's really only one explanation for that. Let's be honest.
Yeah, there's only one. Jacob was angry at Laban and said to him, "Why have you acted this way? Was it not for Rachel that I served you and not for Leah? Why have you wronged me? Take your daughter, and I will go, because you have done a bad thing to me." For Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah because Leah's eyes were weak, though her figure was very lovely. But Rachel's eyes were beautiful, her figure was lovely, and she was very pretty.
Okay, so let's talk about these verses here a little bit. So the writer next reverts to earlier verses in Genesis 29 where the narrator spoke about Jacob's feelings for Rachel and described the sisters. He reports that Jacob loved Rachel, adding from Genesis 29:30 that he loved her more than Leah. The traits of Rachel and Leah, Genesis 29:17, then serve as reasons for Jacob's greater affection for Rachel. So in Genesis 29:17, Leah's eyes were lovely, and Rachel was graceful and beautiful. That's the Genesis version. And you just read the Jubilees one, which added a few extra things. Let's put it lightly there.
Well, Leia's eyes are weak, so she needs glasses or something.
I'm not quite sure what eyes being weak means. Actually, wait, hold on. Maybe I do. The adjective can mean tender, delicate, soft, or weak, so it could be a positive. It could be a positive or a negative trait, and from the context, one could defend either interpretation. In Jubilees, it is a negative trait, although the writer does describe Leia as an attractive woman otherwise. Leia will go on to become a major character, yeah. So there's some stuff for you.
Great. Laban said to Jacob, "It's not customary in our country to give the younger daughter before the older one."
That's not tradition.
Great. It's not right to do this because this is the way that it's ordained and written on the heavenly tablets.
Yep, there they are, the heavenly tablets.
Like, oh yeah, God did it. That's why it's not right.
Yeah.
They're not going to provide any argument.
Just escalate it to their highest level.
That's just it. It's like that in the heavenly tablets.
Yep.
How could you argue otherwise? Yeah.
But why would you even say that? Like, you've already established that it's not customary in the country. But more, like, you don't need to say it's not right to do this because it's not right to do this, right? It's completely unnecessary.
So the note here is so the narrator in Genesis may imply that he was fabricating an excuse for his shameful behavior, or if Laban accurately represented the practice in Haran, the narrator may be suggesting he was blameworthy for not informing Jacob about it before the wedding festivities. There is no trace of any of this in Jubilees. To the contrary, the writer not only considers Laban's claim a straightforward statement about the law in Haran, but also asserts that it is so written on the heavenly tablets. It is a divine law, not one manufactured by Laban to cover his perfidy. And it applies beyond the city limits of Haran. By giving Leia first, Laban prevented the violation of an eternal law. The passage is another instance in which the full language of heavenly tablets is employed and where the angel of the presence turns more directly to Moses. He does not use his name, with an order for him to communicate the law to the people of Israel, although there is no hint of such a rule in the Hebrew Bible.
Well, it also confuses, like, what are the heavenly tablets? Because it's been implied at other points.
You don't read those. You can't see them. They're gods.
Well, it's implied at
Only
other...
Moses saw them, right? Or something like that?
No, it's implied at other points that they are a written, like, record of history.
Yeah.
Which are prescriptive or... Well,
I would say they're prescriptive, sure.
But they're also supposed to be descriptive of things that are going to happen. So if someone writes in the heavenly tablets...
Well, I don't think it's...
Okay, so if in the heavenly tablets it's written the words, like, specifically, people will not commit sin X.
Okay.
Right.
Wasn't Enoch written on the heavenly tablets to be like super important? So it's like a story about the world almost.
Yeah, but now it's like a list of rules. So if you have that sentence,
well, it could include both of those things.
It's like another Bible.
But yeah, if you have the sentence,
it's stories and rules.
If you have the sentence, people will not do X in the heavenly tablets. How is that to be interpreted? Is it descriptive or is it prescriptive? Is it a commandment? If something's written in the heavenly tablets, then it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Because it's preordained. So how is it in any meaningful way a commandment? But if it's written as a commandment, then It's supposedly meaningfully a commandment, even though the rest of the contents of the heavenly tablets would dictate whether or not you commit this sin because they're pre-written.
Hey, man. Nice rabbit hole you found.
I got nothing. I know
rabbit hole.
I know how.
One.
I think I know how an apologist would answer this though.
Oh, okay.
They'd say something along the lines of, well, if you watch like a video, like a tape of like a football game, like those players had free will like in the moment, but you're just watching a recording, so it's still
Right, but that doesn't make any sense because it was written prior to anything.
Exactly, yeah.
happening.
Timeless beings are weird.
Yeah. It's like a script for a tape of a football game where the players had free will.
They sure did.
That's the
now
idea.
they rewound and
But
they can't help it.
My response to that was always, well, like God, like I'm assuming God would have like a whole bunch of possibilities of games that he could possibly watch, all possible games, and he picked this one game to watch.
You're adding in multiple probabilistic statuses for your realities. Very good.
This mythology's growing.
Yeah, man, you gotta incorporate modern theories of quantum mechanics in order to make it work, or else it's it just doesn't make sense. Anyways, keep going here.
This is written on the heavenly tablets that no one should give his younger daughter before his older one, but he should give the older and after her the younger. It's entirely arbitrary.
So once he has cited Laban's words about the local custom, the angel of the presence comments on the legal situation. He does not say the law in question originated from the events that have just unfolded. He says only, this is the way it is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets. The law was there beforehand, but Jacob must not have known about it, while Laban somehow did. The angel then spells out exactly what is recorded on the heavenly tablets. It's what you just read.
Okay, well, regarding a man who acts in this way, they enter a sin in heaven. Several excellent manuscripts read the tablets of heaven.
Okay. Makes sense then.
So these tablets also record lists of sins that people do.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming the heavenly tablets will hold all information that could possibly be known in the natural world.
I compared them when we last discussed them, and I don't know if you guys recalled my analogy, but it's helpful to Ruben at the very least. The Elder Scrolls from the Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, but if the heavenly tablets also include this information, then how can we meaningfully say that any of the characters
That's why people go blind staring at those scrolls, Ruben.
I don't know. Man.
Go blind staring at them because it doesn't make any sense.
I could say that. No, I got nothing. It's really not. Unless there's a possibility of deviating from this thing.
But it was written that there was a possibility.
No, yeah, I guess.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
You can always say something as convoluted as that. That's why the Elder Scrolls are stupid, and so are these.
So I guess it wouldn't really be the tablets that are doing the controlling or the prescribing. They just hold all the possible information.
Yes, they're the server racks of the universe.
But then wouldn't every sentence be followed with, as it was written in the heavenly tablets?
Only if they had the heavenly tablets.
We need to rewrite everything and say that way.
In this case,
they definitely have the heavenly tablets.
Yeah, you're right. But well, the thing is, as it is written is usually strictly for scripture. So
and see, the Elder Scrolls were not written, and neither were these.
It wouldn't be counted.
They've just existed. Scripture. They're there.
I would think that the heavenly tablets were written.
Oh, you do?
They could say,
"Oh man!"
Before literally every statement, then it is written in the heavenly tablets that. Because they say stuff like that in here. Where is it?
Got even more dumb points on it. Can we move on?
we probably should. Do have some notes here though, and uh,
Fair enough.
yeah, it does go into the tablets a little bit more.
Yeah, this is the way it is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets.
Yeah, but it's not like for it is written.
That's basically
It's almost
the
this,
same
it's
thing.
it's saying
It's saying the same thing.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyways, Laban obeyed this law, the whole older younger sister thing, or daughter thing. In this form, however, it did not apply to Jacob because it is directed to fathers of daughters. It deals with giving daughters in marriage and says nothing about guilt for taking a younger daughter first. The angel adds that if one violates the ruling, another piece of information is incised in the tablets. The guilty party is charged with a sin. No just individual acts in this way because the Lord considers such behavior wicked. Furthermore, the law engraved on the celestial record is, the angel explains, one that Moses must transmit to Israel when he descends from Mount Sinai. The wording of the law that he articulates for Israel, in distinction from the way Laban stated it, and the angel first formulated it in verse 6, makes it directly relevant to Jacob's case. They are neither to take nor give the younger before giving precedence to the older. That's verse 7. Since Jacob was going to take the younger woman first, he would have violated this eternal law and committed an act that was very wicked. Oddly enough, Laban saved the otherwise extraordinarily virtuous Jacob by making a big mistake.
Wow. There is no one who is just and does this because the action is evil in the Lord's presence. Now you order the Israelites not to do this. They are neither to take nor give the younger before giving precedence to the older, because it is very wicked. Laban said to Jacob, "Let the 7 days of the banquet for this one go by. Then I will give you Rachel, so that you serve me a second term of 7 years by tending my flocks as you did during the first week." At the time when the 7 days of Leah's banquet had passed by, Laban gave Rachel to Jacob so that he would serve him as a second term of 7 years. He gave her Bilhah, Zilpah's sister, as a maid. He served 7 years a second time for Rachel because Leah had been given him for nothing. But she wasn't. He had to work 7 years.
Nothing.
No. Ugh. Great.
So the verse reflects material from Genesis 29, 28, and 30. The writer once again makes clear that the 7, or the week that passed, were the 7 days of the festival for Leah. After the celebration, Laban gave Rachel to Jacob. This time, Genesis also mentions her name and adds that she was Laban's daughter. But where Genesis says he gave her to him as a wife, Jubilees states as the purpose that he was to serve Laban a second unit of 7 years. Yeah, the verse concludes with words from Genesis 29:29.
Okay. Now we have the births of 12 children.
What? No, a list.
Amazing.
When the Lord opened Leah's womb, she became pregnant and gave birth to a son for Jacob. What is the implication here?
I don't know how birth works.
Is the implication that he had sex with her in verse, what was it? Verse 4, and that was the opening of her womb? Or is the implication that she is prepubescent?
Or maybe it's
at
just
the time of verse 4.
Or maybe they're just talking about they fucked here in general. So, as in Genesis, the unit begins with Leah's first 4 sons after he noticed that the Lord opened her womb. Jubilees does not reproduce at this point at the beginning of Genesis 29:31, when the Lord saw that Leah was unloved. Jubilees delays the indication that she was the subject of such a strong feeling until it mentions in verse 12 that Rachel's womb was closed.
He named him Reuben on the 14th.
Hey, Reuben!
It's spelled different.
Happy birthday!
Oh, thanks.
It is later.
Can we get a happy birthday in the chat for Reuben?
Just Reuben?
That's later.
No, just Reuben.
just
Because
me.
it says right there, it's Reuben. If it said Chris, it'd be different.
This is Reuben in the verse 11 of Jubilees.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, maybe on Sunday when it's like a day away, you could try.
Oh, okay.
Yep. On the 14th day of the 9th month during the first year, the third week, 21:22. Now, Rachel's womb was closed because the Lord saw that Leah was hated, but Rachel was loved. Jacob again went into Leah. She became pregnant and gave birth to a second son for Jacob. He named him Simeon on the 21st of the 10th month during the third year of this week, 21:24. Jacob again went into Leah. She became pregnant and gave birth to a third son for him. He named him Levi on the first of the first month during the 6th year of this week, 21:27.
So the date is one on which other significant events in the priestly realm would occur. The birth of Facahat, along with the erection of the tabernacle and installation of the priesthood, Exodus 40.
He went in yet another time into her, and she gave birth to a fourth son. He named him Judah on the 15th of the third month during the first year of the fourth week, 21:29. Throughout all this, Rachel was jealous of Leah, since she
I'm
was
sure.
not bearing children.
She wasn't even. So does See, I'm trying to figure this out. Are they having sex and it's just not working for them? Like they're just not. She's just not getting pregnant.
Yeah,
Not
Or-
doing it.
yeah, because they said it before that.
Oh yeah, because
Rachel's womb was closed.
yeah. So I'm guessing. Okay, so the womb being closed thing just means that it's a hostile environment. Is how
Yeah, I
I've heard
guess.
doctors put it
She said, "You've heard doctors put it."
on TV.
Yeah.
Fake doctors, people who play doctors on TV.
Okay. She said to Jacob, "Give me children." Jacob said to her, "Have I withheld the product of your womb from you? Have I abandoned you?" So, no, they've still been having sex.
Yeah, just not working.
And it seems the implication is that this older sister, right?
It's supposed to be
she's-
like barren or something, maybe.
So Rachel, I'm going to say, is slightly older, right?
Yeah.
Because that tends to be how it works with twins. If they have abnormalities, the older one tends to be healthier, right?
Okay.
So, yeah. So that's going on. And Rachel wants kids. It might be that, a lot of time has passed now.
Good amount, yeah.
She's given birth to, like, multiple children. So it's got to be at least a couple years, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, they don't just show up that fast.
Maybe it is that Leia was prepubescent and the opening of her womb happened earlier for her than for Rachel.
Well then it would be weird for Rachel to stop having kids so soon.
How old is she? Does it say at any point?
No.
We said that they're twins.
Yeah, they're twins.
Identical, which means they're born at the same time.
Right, but when were they born? Does it say?
Well,
anywhere?
now I'm guessing
they give all these dates for when other people are born, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's be honest. We're not really counting the dates when people are born. We always can go back to that. That does exist in there.
Yeah, because they talk about the womb being closed, and what does that even really mean? Like,
Means that they can't get pregnant. That's as far as I'm guessing.
yeah,
You know,
functionally, that's what
functionally.
it means, but there's any number of possible explanations for that.
straight up infertile.
Could be infertile.
Yeah, I guess we're not really told. Either way.
Like randomly people are infertile and then fertile later. Remember, you've read the Bible. I've been here.
Wait, you have?
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay, it doesn't have to make any logical sense.
Thank you. Elder Scrolls.
But one would suspect that they would try in a commentary on Genesis to make some sense.
I mean, I'm reading over some of this, and if I see something that addresses it, I'll let you know. But we can continue.
Okay. When Rachel saw that Leah had given birth to 4 sons for Jacob, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, she said to him, "Go into my servant girl Bilhah. Then she will become pregnant and give birth to a son for me." So this is like a Hagar situation.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she's
I
a
remember
cuck.
Bilhah.
She's literally a cuck.
Yep.
Yep. So he went in. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son for him. He named him Dan on the
Dan.
9th of the 6th month during the 6th year of the 3rd week, 2127. Jacob once again went into Bilhah. She became pregnant and gave birth to a second son for Jacob. Rachel named him Naphtali on the 5th of the 7th month during the 2nd year of the 4th week, 2130. When Leah saw that she had become barren and was not bearing children,
Okay, so
she
now
grew jealous of Rachel and gave her maid Zilpah to Jacob as a wife.
Okay, so Jacob is he's doing his job. He's populating the earth. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a lot of kids.
Still going, right?
So, yeah, they have these slaves that they just give to him. It's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
She became pregnant and gave birth to a son. And then they don't even get to name their own children. Right? Leia named him Gad on the 12th of the 8th month during the 3rd year of the 4th week, 2131. So
Well, because remember, this is the servant, right?
yeah.
So, and because it was a Hagar situation, this was a kid for Leia.
This one was given to Jacob as a wife.
Yes, but it was still a kid for Leia, wasn't it? Didn't we just read that she would have the kid?
Yeah.
Because it was for her, she gets to name it.
Yeah.
So the first slave is literally just like Rachel's like, go have sex with this slave. But
It's Bilhah.
Bilhah instead of Zilpah, right? Here's Zilpah is given to Jacob as a wife and then produces children for Leia.
Yes.
That's weirder.
That is, really weird. And then Leia names the kid as opposed to the other ones who Jacob named.
Yeah.
And it consistently said before he named him X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Right. So that's odd. He again went into her, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a second son for him. Leia named him Asher on the 2nd of the 11th month during the 5th year of the 4th week, 2133. Then Jacob went into Leia. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son for Jacob.
All right, so it's working again, I guess.
Yep. He named him Issachar on the 4th day of the 5th month during the 4th year of the 4th week, 2132. She gave him to a nurse. Again, Jacob went into her.
You know, this is kind of weird here.
Yeah.
So the writer of Jubilees records only that Jacob went into Leah and she gave birth to Issachar, whom Jacob named in the year 3132, right?
Mm-hmm.
A number that is strange because it would mean that Issachar's birth...
2132, not 3132.
Yeah, 2132, sorry. Yeah, a number that is strange because it would mean that Issachar's birth preceded that of Asher, although the sequence suggests it followed it.
Mm.
Yeah, because one's in
pregnancy,
2133.
the way babies are made, it's not like an instant process, right?
Yes.
Unless they're a magic baby.
Yeah, unless they're a magic baby.
So did they perhaps...
Magic a baby?
Yeah, did they magic a baby? Is that what happened there?
I don't know. Let's just wave our wands over this
It's
one.
just in the different...
So is this the most graphic sex scene in
Jubilees? That's what... So far, yes.
Okay.
Just making babies.
Well, there's just constant sex. So, like...
You haven't had a moment without it, dude.
Yeah, it honestly seems like it's... they have nothing better to do.
12 Sons was brought up. It's been nothing but... And they went in on each other. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. So when you're teaching... when Christians, rather, are teaching these Judeo-Christian moral values...
I don't think they'd be talking about Jubilees.
Right. Well, once upon a time...
Yeah.
In some tribe... somewhere
in some churches they would have definitely been using Jubilees.
Yeah. So those children are getting preached to, right? And they're going through their regular church service. Then they get to this section. Right? What do?
Go in on them.
Let's never say that again in this context. That was
bad.
horrible, Chris.
That's probably what a priest would be
Oh,
thinking, but I mean,
See, I'm just making the joke. Take it as a joke.
Okay, so if I honestly probably wouldn't even include this in their lesson.
No, yeah, you'd leave it out.
Yeah.
You'd be like,
they would just say, and they had children. They loved each other very much.
Is where
five
the red
of them,
pen gets used. Yeah, and they had a bunch of kids, and they love each other.
yeah, they had
except
babies.
for Leia, who
Or Bilhah. Nobody
was,
really loved her.
hated or unloved. Those are some of the translations.
Yeah, she's hated and unloved, but she had a bunch of kids.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was going on. You didn't teach the kids about that. Okay. Again, Jacob went into her. She became pregnant and gave birth to twins, a son and a daughter. She named the son Zebulun and the daughter Dinah on the 7th of the 7th month during the 6th year, the 4th week, 2134. Then the Lord was kind to Rachel. He opened her womb.
So
Then she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She named him Joseph on the 1st of the 4th month during the 6th year in the 4th week, 2134.
Yeah, so obviously Joseph, huge birth, huge.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about the Dinah and Zebulun thing. So after Issachar, Genesis 30:19 through 21 relates the birth of Zebulun, whom Leia named. She explains the choice, and apparently later the birth of Dinah, whom Leia also named, with no explanation. In Jubilees, when next Leia became pregnant, she bore twins, Zebulun and Dinah, both of whom she named in 21:34. Perhaps the inference that they were twins arose from the fact that Genesis says nothing about an additional pregnancy for Leia before Dinah's birth. She simply bore her after bearing Zebulun.
At the time when Joseph was born, Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wives and my children, so that I may go to my father Isaac and make a house for myself, because I have completed the years during which I served you in exchange for your 2 daughters. Then I will go to my father's house." Laban said to Jacob, "Stay with me in exchange for your wages. Tend my flocks and for me again, and take your wages." They agreed among themselves that he would give him his wages. All the lambs and the kids that were born a dark gray color and a dark mixed with white were to be his wages. All the dark-colored sheep giving birth to all with variously colored spots of every kind and various shades of dark gray. The sheep would again give birth to lambs that looked like them. All with spots belonged to Jacob, and those without spots to Laban. Jacob's possessions grew very large. He acquired cattle, sheep, donkeys, camel, and male and female servants. When Laban and his sons became jealous of Jacob, Laban took back his sheep from him and kept his eye on him for evil purposes. That's the end of the chapter.
For evil purposes.
He gave him the evil eye. You've heard of the evil eye, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's there.
That's
For
amazing.
evil purposes. Ooh, spooky. Hey, if you're enjoying the stream so far, give us a like, share the stream with your friends, family, neighbors.
Subscribe if you haven't, you know.
Ex-neighbors.
Yeah,
People who used to live near you.
Actually, you know what you should do? You should message your text door neighbors. So what you do is you take your phone number and subtract it by 1 or add 1 and then message that person. They're your text door
You
neighbors.
should just message somebody that you used to know.
Also, yes.
Yeah.
They'll
Also,
be like, "The hell? Who are you?"
any marriages, and you know, if you're sending out invitations already, you
Absolutely.
might as well include our link to our stream.
Here's this, though. We can hop into the next chapter here.
Great.
Classic here. We got a
Chapter 29.
Yes, chapter 29.
Yeah. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. So Jubilees 29 spans the time of transition from when Jacob leaves Padan Aram until he returns to the land. Once he reaches it, he encounters Laban and Esau, and he cares for Isaac and Rebekah, though he does so from a distance. The stretch of Genesis on which the writer primarily bases the account is chapters 31 through 33. But he introduces major changes, mostly through omissions, but also through additions. So, for example, the long story about the meeting between Jacob and Laban in Genesis 31:22 through 55, he treats in 29:5 through 8. 12a and the extended dramatic encounter between Jacob and Esau in Genesis 32:3, Hebrew 32:4, through 33:17, he summarizes in 29:13. These episodes, which occurred in the course of the journey home, contributed little to the author's message, and main places have detracted from it. So he largely ignored them. Yet to the account in Genesis, he adds a selection about the former name and residence of Gilead, and one about the gifts that Jacob regularly sent to his marriage, to his parents. In the latter unit, he references Esau's marriage to Mahalath, something he had earlier omitted when recounting the story of Jacob's departure from home. The major divisions in this chapter are these: 1 through 4, where Jacob and his family leave Laban's home and go to Gilead; 5 through 8, the encounter between Jacob and Laban in Gilead. 9 through 11, a digression on the previous name and inhabitants of Gilead. And 12 through 20, Jacob meets Esau and cares for Isaac and Rebekah. The full Ethiopic text for the chapter is joined by the Latin translation for verses 8 through 20.
All right, let's get started with chapter 29. After Rachel had given birth to Joseph, Laban went off to shear his sheep because they were a 3-day journey removed from him. Jacob saw that Laban was going off to shear his sheep and summoned Leah and Rachel.
You know, that's a pretty inconvenient way to keep your animals.
Yeah, 3 days away from you. Absolutely. Yeah.
I just went there.
Well, maybe at this point, he has all these slaves that have been mentioned at the end of the last chapter, right? It was mentioned that he got additional slaves.
Oh,
when
yeah.
he
Yeah.
got wealthy. So maybe he has his slaves working on the farm. Yep.
All right. Well,
Let me
apparently
see
he has to go
if
back and
there's
shear his sheep.
anything in here about that. That's all in verse 1, right?
It
That
demonstrates how much
was
land he
verse 1
has.
and 2.
1 and 2.
I can finish verse 2 here.
Okay, finish verse 2.
He spoke tenderly with them so that they would come with him to the land of Canaan. That's verse 2.
Yeah, they just mention it, the 3-day journey, but they don't really have anything about it.
I was trying to say that it emphasizes how much land he might have.
Maybe. It's a inconvenient amount of land, actually. But, yeah, let's keep going.
I must go on a quest to do my job, my normal job of shearing sheep.
For he told them how he had seen everything in a dream and everything about his statement. Wait, what? Hold on. And everything about his statement to him that he should return to his father's house. They said, "We will go with you wherever you go." Jacob blessed the God of his father Isaac and the God of his grandfather Abraham. He set about loading up his wives and his children and took all his possessions.
Okay, so this dream, some understand the dream to be the one mentioned in Genesis 31:10. Helpern Amaru, however, objects. The content of the dream that Jacob describes to his wives in Genesis 31:10 through 13 reflects the earlier narrative of Jacob's efforts to combat Laban's schemes, Genesis 30:37 through 43, and refers to the divine command to return home in Genesis 31:3. None of that background to the conversation is preserved in Jubilees. The reader knows of a dream in which the patriarch is told he would return to his father's house, but it comes out in a totally different context. It's the dream vision years earlier at Bethel when Jacob, in flight from Esau's anger, was on his way to the home of his uncle. In that vision, God conveyed the promises of the patriarchal covenant and assured Jacob that he would bring him back to Canaan.
Yeah, so, land of the fathers, going back to that.
Mhm.
Or, yeah, they'll be back in the land of their fathers. He set about loading up his wives and his children and took all his possessions. After he had crossed the river, he reached the land of Gilead. But Jacob had concealed his plan from Laban and had not told him. Oh, so now he's plotting.
Mm-hmm.
During the 7th year of the 4th week, 2135, Jacob returned to Gilead on the 25th day of the 1st month. Laban pursued him and found Jacob on the mountain of Gilead on the 13th day of the 3rd month. So, almost, about 2 months later.
Yeah, there's going to be some conflict.
But the Lord did not allow him to harm Jacob, because he had appeared to him at night in a dream, and Laban told Jacob.
So here, once the two men are together, they do not engage in the lengthy exchange of charge and countercharge found in Genesis 31:26 through 42. And certainly not in the intense argument regarding Rachel's theft of Laban's gods. You remember that, right? Genesis 31:30 through 37. As that episode plays no part in the context in Jubilees, the author merely reports that the Lord had prevented Laban from doing any harm to Jacob. In Genesis 31:29, Laban gives his own account of the experience. It is my power to do you no harm, or it is my power to do you harm, but the God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, take heed that you speak to Jacob neither good nor bad. Verse 24, it's called a dream by night. This is told in the verse which this is the verse to which 29:6 refers with the phrase Laban told Jacob.
Gotcha, okay. On the 15th of those days, Jacob prepared a banquet for Laban and all who had come with him. That day, Jacob swore to Laban and Laban to Jacob that neither would commit an offense against the other on the mountain of Gilead with bad intentions. There he made a mound as a testimony. For this reason, that place is named the Mound of Testimony after this mound.
Wow, how creatively written.
Have you ever been to the Mound of Testimony?
No, but I can guess that it's a mound
Of
of testimony.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That name is like really descriptive.
You know,
Do you have
what's
any
it made out of? Is it made out of stone?
Dirt.
How many?
I don't know. Why don't you,
Dirt mound.
You got the commentary. Does it say anything about the Mound of Testimony?
Verse is this?
That was verse 8.
It's verse 8.
Yeah, it's at the end of the encounter between Jacob and Laban and Gilead. Their entire encounter is they both basically just received a word from God.
Yeah, it's a pillar. In Genesis 31:46, Jacob is the one who has his kinsfolk gather stones and make a heap or mound. But in verse 51, Laban refers to the heap and pillar he set up. In Jubilees, only Jacob erects a heap. The name of the place acquires from this act in the Hebrew one that Jacob gives it, Gilead. In Genesis 31:47, Jubilees does not reproduce the Aramaic equivalent to Laban that Laban supplies, Jegar Sahadutha, as NRSV transliterates it.
Okay. And this next section that we're going into actually tells us a little bit more about the name from the perspective of the author. So this is the digression on the previous name and inhabitants of Gilead. But at first, the land of Gilead was named the land of Rephaim because it was the land of the Rephaim. The Rephaim were born there, giants whose heights were 10 cubits, 9 cubits, 8 cubits, and down to 7 cubits. So about Rephaim.
Yes.
This was a term that was used for the Amorites, and if you've read the Bible, you know the Amorites.
Mm-hmm.
One of the issues with to identify something as Amorite is the best that scholars can tell, and you can check out John Van Setter's Abraham in History and Tradition. He has a long argument on it, but basically the point, it boils down to even if the Amorites were an ethnic group, that they were it referred to a region. It became just a reference to a certain region in the area, like just east of Israel, like that area, and I think maybe a little bit down to the Saudi area and current Saudi Arabia, and like there are plenty of references to like the land of Amuru, but it is always referring to an area instead of the people, and we can't really identify any kind of specific ethnic group there that we can identify as the Amorites. So even if if there was an actual ethnic group at some point, it just came to refer to this specific area.
All right. They were tall.
Anyways, and if you remember the whole giants thing from Enoch,
stone fortresses that they defended were in this area, right? Rephaim, yes.
I don't remember.
Okay, so
I remember that. Enoch. Shout out to Enoch.
Yeah, having just explained the meaning of Gilead, the mound and heap of testimony, the writer departs from his base text in Genesis for a short section about Gilead and its past. He formulates the aside on the patterns of the one in Deuteronomy 2:19 through 21. There, after the Lord warns the people of Israel not to bother the Ammonites when they pass their border with Moab, Deuteronomy 2:19, he gives way to an editor who inserts some information about the country of Ammon. It is also usually reckoned as a land of Rephaim. Rephaim formerly inhabited it, though the Ammonites call them Zamzumin, a strong and numerous people as tall as the Anakim. Who are the Anakim?
You know what? I think we barely discussed this before, but I'm sure there's a. You know what? I don't even know, but I've heard that before somewhere.
Yeah, I've heard it. But it's from Deuteronomy.
Yeah, it's in there. I just read it.
Yeah.
I mean, you read it, but I had Deuteronomy in front of me.
Well, the territory of Ammon could be thought to extend into the regions of Gilead. For example, in Judges 10:8, the Ammonites crushed and oppressed the Israelites that year. For 18 years, they oppressed all the Israelites that were beyond the Jordan in the land of the Amorites, which is in Gilead. The career of the judge Jephthah, the Gileadite, follows.
Yeah, Jephthah was he was the one who sacrificed his daughter basically to win a war.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Jephthah. So right now,
first thing that comes out of your house.
Yeah, first thing. So let's see here. I'm checking on these verses. What was it? Verse 20 or something around there, around verse 20. Yes, I see it.
In Jubilees, the narrating angel's gonna talk about the Rephaim being giants.
Yeah, I got. I'm currently checking on anything from Altar that talks about the Rephaim.
Deuteronomy 2:20.
Yeah. I'm looking through the whole thing on Rephaim. Maybe it's somewhere else, but either way, what he says here, through the Ammonites' onslaught, the Hebrew says only from before their faces, as before the elements of fearfulness in that preposition is represented by onslaught, and Ammonites is added to clarify. Okay. So
in 2:19, what does it say about the Anakim?
Let's see, 2:19. You shall besiege them. Yeah, you shall besiege them, and you shall not provoke them, for I will not give you an inheritance of the land of the Ammonites, for to the sons of Lot I have given it as an inheritance.
No, it should say something else.
Oh, okay, so maybe
Where's the Anakim part in Alter's version? Nope. Does he have them? At all?
Maybe it's a little bit.
Is it a verse behind or ahead?
That's what I'm guessing. So
It's usually reckoned as land of
the Rephaim used to dwell there, and the Ammonites call them Zemzumim, a great and multitudinous people, and lofty as the giants. And the Lord destroyed them through the Ammonites' onslaught, and they dwelled in their stead.
So he translates Anakim as giants.
Well, hold on.
Because in here it says the Ammonites call them Zamzumim, a strong and numerous people as tall as the Anakim.
Yes.
So they're giants.
One of the lists of giants.
Yeah.
And they had more varied size, according to this particular reading.
Well, we got something there. That's good. Anyways, yes, let's continue, I suppose.
Mm.
So yeah, tall giants here, apparently. The places where they lived extended from the land of the Ammonites as far as Mount Hermon. Their royal centers were Karnaim, Ashtaroth, Edrei, Mishur, and Bayonne.
So Karnaim.
Yeah, I remember that from some biblical stuff.
Yeah, the name is regularly combined with Ashtaroth for Ashtaroth Karnaim. Genesis 14:5 says that Chedorlaomer and the allied kings defeated the Rephaim in Ashtaroth Karnaim.
Yeah, there's a whole thing in
for the name alone, see Amos 6:13.
Yeah, I remember there being a whole discussion on that specific event in Van Setter's book that I referenced before.
And besides with Karnaim, Ashtaroth appears alone as a place where the king Og ruled. Deuteronomy.
That's where it was Karnaim, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Edrei, this city was a city of King Og as well. Another passage where he's called a remnant of the Rephaim has him in it. Misur, it's the only name of the five that's not attested in the Hebrew Bible as a city name. Dillman and Charles made the sensible suggestion that Misur reflects Mishur, the name for the elevated plateau or tableland between Arnon and Heshbon. It is located in the correct area. Deuteronomy 3:10, where Moses is speaking about the victories over Sihon and Og, the two kings of the Amorites, lists the areas conquered, all the towns of the tableland, the whole of Gilead and all of Bashan, as far as Salakah and Edrei, towns of Og's kingdom in Bashan. And Bayonne, the city is the one mentioned in Numbers 32:3. In that context, the tribes of Reuben and Gad, who settled in the Transjordan, saw that Gilead was a good place for their cattle and requested several cities there, among which is Bayonne.
Okay.
Nothing more is said about it.
The Lord destroyed them because of the evil things they did, for they were very wicked.
Well, hold on.
Oh.
There is a little more.
Oh.
Levine, and this is in a footnote.
Adam Levine? No, I'm kidding.
I don't know.
That's a joke.
Writes that Bayonne should probably be Maon, part of the city name Beth Baal Maon. See Joshua 13:17, or just Baal Maon, Numbers 32:38. According to Seriani, the Latin manuscript has the letters Etseo at this point. Possibly the last three letters should be Beo for Bayon. Ethiopic Numbers 32:3 spells the name Bayan. So
That's interesting.
yeah.
So anyways, they're all wicked and stuff. The Amorites, evil and sinful, lived in their place. Today there is no nation that has matched all their sins. They no longer have length of life on earth. That's it. They're wiped. Removed from the book of life.
That's bad. That's genocide.
So that was that was in fact a digression.
So the whole section here is talking about how they're just so evil.
Basically, it was just.
And there are continual references in the Bible to them being so evil.
Yeah, it references them as, things of the past, but look how evil they were. So yeah, that's where that's at.
Yeah, that culture that we destroyed, they were just all evil.
Jacob sent Laban away, and he went to Mesopotamia, to the eastern country. But Jacob returned to the land of Gilead. He crossed the Jabbok on the 11th of the 9th month, and on the same day his brother Esau came to him. They were reconciled with each other. Esau should never have forgiven him.
No. I wouldn't have forgiven him.
Then he went from him to the land of Seir, while Jacob lived in tents. In the first year of the 5th week during this Jubilee, 2136, he crossed the Jordan. He settled on the other side of the Jordan and was tending his sheep from the sea of, this name, Facahat.
Yes.
As far as
Facahat.
As far as Beth-shan, Dothan, and the forest of Akrabim. So let's see there. For interpreting this as a reference to the Sea of Galilee.
Okay, so the Sea of Facahat, Latin Sea of Salt. The Sea of Salt should be the Dead Sea, but the Ethiopic name is peculiar. There's no known word or name Facahat. Most of the manuscripts read Feshat or Feshat, word for heap, mound, pillar, a form for the word for mound that appears in verse 8. The word sea is supported by both versions, so it should be secure, although there are not many seas in the general area demarcated by the place names later in the verse. The Latin name designates one of them, and the other is the Sea of Galilee. The Dead Sea is too far south for this list, or so it seems, and a decent case can be made for seeing the Sea of Galilee behind the Ethiopic readings. It will be recalled that in the Jacob-Laban story, the place received its name Gilead from the Mound of Witness/Testimony erected there. If the Hebrew text of Jubilees read Yom Galilee, it is possible that Jacob-Laban's story led the writer of Jubilees to see the name Sea of Galilee, another place named after the heap or mound in Gilead, an area that borders on the Sea of Galilee.
He sent his father Isaac some of all his possessions, clothing, food, meat, things to drink, milk, butter, cheese, and some dates from the valley. To his mother Rebekah, too, he sent goods 4 times per year, between the seasons of the months, between plowing and harvest, between autumn and the rainy season, and between winter and spring, to Abraham's tower. For Isaac had returned from the well of the oath, had gone up to the tower of his father Abraham, and had settled there away from his son Esau, because at the time when Jacob went to Mesopotamia, Esau had married Mahalath, Ishmael's daughter. Oh no! He had gathered all his father's flocks and and his wives, and had gone up and lived in Mount Seir. He had left his father Isaac alone at the well of the oath. So if you have anything to add to any of that.
Yeah, so an explanation was needed for the move to Hebron. It turns out that they had left Beersheba and relocated to Hebron and put some distance between themselves and Esau. It should be remembered that Esau in Genesis is the son who remained with his elderly parents when Jacob left them for more than 2 decades. He appears to be the more loyal of the two, and Jacob adds to his guilt by not coming to his parents and visiting them after he returns from Haran. Jubilees counters that impression vigorously. Esau remained with his parents, but, says the writer, he was anything but a solicitous son. He had disrespected, even abused his parents in 2 ways. And verse 18 recounts the marriage with Mahalath, an event recorded in Genesis 28:6-9, 6 through 9. Immediately after the scene in which Jacob left for Haran, Genesis presents the third marriage of Esau as an attempt by him to please his parents. He heard the instructions of Isaac that Jacob was not to marry a Canaanite woman, but rather someone from the family. He tried to obey. He married Mahalath, who, as a daughter of Ishmael, was part of Abraham's family, and thus seemingly a suitable marriage partner. But he had her to be his wife in addition to the wives that he had.
Oh,
so that he didn't divorce the offending woman. The reader doesn't hear more concerning the marriage or the fate of Isaac and Rebekah about it, but the author of Jubilees puts it in a negative context.
So Isaac had gone up. From the well of the oath and settled at the tower of his father Abraham in the mountain of Hebron. There Jacob would send everything that he was sending to his father and mother from time to time. Everything they needed. Then they would bless Jacob with all their mind and with all their being. And that is the end of chapter 29.
Yes, if you're enjoying the stream so far, give it a like, share, comment, subscribe. Make sure that everyone on your Facebook feed is in this chat right now.
Everyone.
Chatting it up. Make sure that if you have a Weibo, then...
A what?
If you use TikTok, Tinder...
You say a Weibo?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's like Chinese thing.
Oh, okay.
You know any Russian ones?
The VK.com.
Yeah.
That's like a Russian Facebook.
You got a VK?
Yeah.
Share it on there.
There's also there's also another one called Odnoklasniki, and that's basically just means like similar classmates. Just classmates.
Share it in your IRC chats.
If you play chess on like light chess or something where you can chat with people, send them links to our stuff in the middle of your chess match.
It's disorienting. You'll win.
You'll win. It's a good tactic. Anyways, Dinah, Shechem, Exogamy, and Levi the priest. This is chapter 30. This is the last one we're doing today, right?
Yes, it is.
Yep. Okay. The story about the rape of Dinah and the response by Jacob and his sons.
Yeah, so we're already real heavy stuff here.
Oh no, someone's in the kitchen with Dinah.
Oh my, really? Jubilees 30 is related to Genesis 34, the story about the rape of Jacob and Leah's daughter Dinah by Shechem. Yeah, the son of...
I don't remember this.
The son of Hamor the Hivite.
Pretty short.
Prince of the region. After the act of violence, Shechem wished to marry Dinah, and he and his father attempted to make nuptial arrangements with Jacob and his sons. As they talked, Hamor proposed that there should be a wider association. Make marriages with us, give your daughters to us, and take our daughters for yourselves. You shall live with us, and the land shall be open to you. Live and trade in it, and get property in it. That's Genesis 34, 9 through 10.
Great.
Yeah, the sons of Jacob, not Jacob himself, decided on the deceptive plan to punish the inhabitants of Shechem.
Wonderful. During the first year of the 6th week, 2143, he went up safely to Salem, which is on the east side of Shechem, in the 4th month. There, Jacob's daughter Dinah was taken by force to the house of Shechem.
So before we get into that heaviness, Jubilees introduces the story by citing a line from Genesis 33:18. Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem. The translation in the NRSV offers an interpretation of a potentially confusing text. And then it gives the Sumerian Pentateuch version and the Masoretic text version. And it looks like they are exactly the same except for one letter. So like a word is different. The problem faced by readers was how to interpret that one specific word. Is it the word for peace as the Sumerian Pentateuch spells it, or is it the name of a city, Salem? The author of Jubilees with the Septuagint tradition took it as a place name, but he also parsed it as meaning safely or peacefully, so that Jacob went up to Salem in safety or peace. That left the problem of how the reference to the city of Shechem could be worked into the sentence. The writer uniquely adds that Salem was east of Shechem, thus indicating they were two different places. In doing so, he was probably interpreting the last clause in Genesis 33:18, and he camped before the city.
Yeah, which one of you guys is Reuben? Huh.
Oh, I don't know.
Man, that's tough.
Wow. People will never know.
Nope, no idea.
Yes. No idea at all.
Nope.
Not brought up frequently or anything.
Let's continue the reading.
Yeah, so
Getting into heavy stuff here.
there Jacob's daughter Dinah was taken by force to the house of Shechem, the son of Hamor the Hivite, the ruler of the land. He lay with her and defiled her. Now, she was a small girl, 12 years of age.
Well then,
Whoops.
yeah, this guy sucks.
Yep. It's
He's
in
just
the
the
Bible.
worst kind of person.
Yeah, well, it's not in the Bible, but it's in the Apocrypha. Grody.
Was the age in the Bible?
I don't recall this episode in the Bible.
I remember Dinah. I don't remember her
Yeah, I do
being
remember
12.
I don't remember
I
any
don't
of
remember
the
the
other stuff.
name Dinah.
Well, it was in Genesis 34 apparently.
Okay.
Pretty brief.
He begged her father and her brothers that she become his wife. Jacob and his sons were angry with the Shechemites because they had defiled their sister Dinah.
I'm sure, yeah.
They spoke deceptively with them, acted in a crafty way towards them, and deceived them. Simeon and Levi entered Shechem unexpectedly and effected a punishment on all the Shechemites. They killed every man whom they found in it. They left absolutely no one in it. They killed everyone in a painful way because they had violated their sister Dinah. Well, not
Okay, so
them
here-
personally.
Don't do that.
So here's
They didn't
something.
personally do it.
Right. So here's actually something on. Okay, of course. Like, yes, if I had like a sister that just got raped or something, like, yeah, I'd be pretty mad too. But I wouldn't go and kill everybody of the city that the person was from.
Dinosaur.
Yeah, that would be a little insane.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
I see that. So here's actually an excursus on Dinah's age. A whole section for it.
Great.
So Michael Siegel, after the publication of his book, added the discrepancy about Dinah's age. She was 12, in Jubilees 32, or she was 9, Jubilees 28-23, considering 31. Like, I guess with the dates. To the examples in support of his thesis about the chronological framework of Jubilees, an editor imposed it on previously existing rewritten stories, some of which already contained within them independent chronological data. In this instance, the rewritten version of Genesis 34 contains the age of 12, while the chronological framework entails the age of 9. That Dinah was 12 in the rewritten story serves a halakhic, that's law, halakha's law, purpose. Siegel believes that the definition of I can't read it, but it's a Hebrew word there. That the definition is as a girl 12 years and a day, though it is literarily attested only at a much later time, prevailed when Jubilees was written. As a result, he thinks that Dinah's age relates the story to the law of rape in Deuteronomy 22:28 through 29, where the woman is the same term is used there, as Dinah is in Genesis 34:3 and 12.
Oh, yeah, and it is the first birthday of Friday Apocryphal Podcast.
Yeah, it is.
Number 52.
Yeah, I actually put that into the description, and I totally forgot to say that it was our 1 year anniversary.
Oh, today?
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Well, we've gotten to a year
Of this show, yeah.
and now it's time for a new 52.
You know, that is a lot of happy birthdays, actually.
Yeah, that's a lot of happy birthdays.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Guys, it's not until the 9th.
Whatever.
And it's my birthday, too.
Congratulations to all of us.
You were never
I had
born.
it first.
You were never born. You're
I'm
not
not
on
even doing
camera.
anything for it.
You're in discorporated voice that exists off camera.
I
Me
can
too.
Summon water. Come on.
Yeah.
That's got to count for something.
All right, we can continue with this story, I guess.
Okay. Great. Nothing like this is to be done anymore from now on. To defile an Israelite woman, for the punishment
Specifically
had been decreed against them in heaven,
Israelite women.
that they were to annihilate all the Shechemites with the sword, since they had done something shameful in Israel. The Lord handed them over to Jacob's sons for them to uproot them with the sword and to effect punishment against them, and so that there should not again be something like this within Israel, defiling an Israelite virgin. If there is a man in Israel who wishes to give his daughter or his sister to any foreigner, he is to die. He is to be stoned because he has done something shameful within Israel.
What verse is this?
The woman is to be burned because she has defiled the reputation of her father's house. She is to be uprooted from Israel. That's verse 7.
Okay, verse 7. Gotcha. Wow, lots of
Absolutely insane.
lots of stuff to talk about here.
Judeo-Christian morality.
Burn the witch.
So, yeah, quite a lot of stuff to talk about. Did you read off something about Molech?
No.
No?
Huh. Okay. There's some discussion about that.
That's later on. That's in verse 9. That's in verse 10, rather.
Oh, okay.
I just
Because this
finished
is
with verse 7.
Yeah, I know. This is also in verse 7. This is part of verse 7. But I guess it just is.
Well, let me read through the verse 9 and then.
I'll hit on this stuff.
Okay, you do that.
So, in a situation in which an Israelite male intends or is about to give a female relative to a non-Israelite in marriage, the penalty is death by stoning. This is the sentence prescribed in Leviticus 22 for those who actually carry out the deed of, giving any of their offspring to Molech. Any of the people of Israel or of the aliens who reside in Israel who give any of their offspring to Molech shall be put to death. The people of the land shall stone them to death. In Jubilees, even the plan to bring out such a marriage is punishable by death. To the law of Leviticus, the writer adds a reason for the harsh sentence. The man has committed a shameful act in Israel, using the term found in verse 5 for Shechem's act.
The woman's supposed to be burned.
Yeah, I'm guessing the Molech stuff it works as a polemic.
So,
furthermore, the woman involved in the Israelite, non-Israelite marriage, though she may seem only a passive partner in the transaction, even getting sold, the passive, completely passive.
Yep.
Barely has anything to do with it. is to be burned to death because she has defiled the reputation of her father's house. The language here is reminiscent of Leviticus 21:9. When the daughter of a priest profanes herself through prostitution, she profanes her father. She shall be burned to death.
Yeah, and in verse 8 here it goes on to say, no prostitute or impurity is to be found within Israel throughout all the time of the earth's history, for Israel is holy to the Lord. Any man who is defiled it is to die. He is to be stoned. For this is the way it has been ordained and written in the heavenly tablets regarding any descendant of Israel who defiles it. He is to die. He is to be stoned.
Yeah, and
This law has no temporal end. There is no remission or any forgiveness, but rather the man who has defiled his daughter within all of Israel is to be eradicated because he has given one of his descendants to Molech and has sinned by defiling it.
Yeah, and in Leviticus 25 calls it prostituting themselves to Molech. So yeah, all the Molech stuff from earlier, very polemical. We see that imagery pop up through the Old Testament quite a lot. And let's see here.
So the law has
passages,
no temporal end.
Yeah, no temporal end.
Those
So-
true believers out there.
Those passages are so linking Leviticus 18 and 20 to this stuff. Those passages are filled with laws about marriage and sexual relations and are the only ones in the Pentateuch that resort to the word Molech, one that the author will use in 30:10, which we got to. A number of passages in the Torah link exogamy with an increased danger of idolatry. For example, in Exodus 34:16, the Lord predicts to Moses, when speaking about relations with the peoples of Canaan, and you will take wives from among their daughters for your sons, and their daughters who prostitute themselves to their gods will make your sons also prostitute themselves to their gods. So yeah, all that stuff comes. Here's like an extension of that, basically, and then kill them all.
Yeah, just kill them all. That's Judeo-Christian morality.
At least it's this guy's morality.
You know, I'm not a big fan.
Because this is before this is before all the Jesus stuff.
Yeah, well, it has no temporal end, Lawrence.
Yeah. No temporal end.
Yeah, it says specifically.
It does, you're right.
So,
better hope the author of Jubilees was wrong.
you know, because we're reading the Bible and the Apocrypha, there's probably a ridiculous amount of voice clips out there of us advocating for the most heinous shit. I mean, it's just written there in the Bible and the Apocrypha, right?
Yes.
It's kind of nuts. I'm not exceedingly happy about the fact that people have videos of me advocating for no marriage with non-Israelites.
So what I can't wait for is when we get a gift.
Mm.
You know, like if we say like stone them all or something.
Stone them all.
Yep, stone them all. And I just want somebody to GIF it, and like I want to be able to find it on like Facebook and Twitter. That'd be great.
Here, let's try it again. One more time.
Stone them all.
Wow.
There you go. That's
There you
what you're
go. Judeo-Christian morality. No marriage with non-Israelites. Now, you, Moses, order the Israelites and testify to them that they are not to give any of their daughters to foreigners, and that they are not to marry any foreign women.
Of course.
Because it is despicable before the Lord.
Of course.
For this reason, I have written for you the words of the law, everything that the Shechemites did to Dinah, and how Jacob's son said, we will not give our daughter to a man who has a foreskin, because for us, that would be a disgraceful thing. It is a disgraceful thing for the Israelites who give or take in marriage one of the foreign women because it's too impure and despicable for Israel. Israel will not become clean from this impurity while it has one of the foreign women, or if anyone is given one of his daughters to any foreign man. For it is blow upon blow and curse upon curse. Every punishment, blow and curse will come. If one does this or shuts his eyes to those who do impure things and who defile the Lord's sanctuary and to those who profane his holy name, then the entire nation will be condemned together because of all this impurity and this contamination. There will be no favoritism or partiality. There will be no receiving from him of fruit, sacrifices, offerings, fat, or the aroma of pleasing fragrance, so that he should accept it. So is any man or woman in Israel who defiles his sanctuary. So, yeah, every single person in the nation gets blamed by the action of even a single one of them. So
yes, and then plus all the anti
no race mixing.
Yeah, no race mixing.
That's a big part of the Bible. They hate race mixing.
There's plenty of references here to Ezra and Nehemiah, even though Ruth was married to a Moabite.
Mm-hmm.
So it
should have been stoned to death and should have been burned.
Well, maybe they just didn't have the heavenly tablets.
No, they didn't have the tablets at the time, so they didn't know. The law is still in effect in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Right, but they just didn't know. So I guess she's still marked as sinned in heaven on the heavenly tablets.
Yep. Was Ruth the Moabite, or was the husband the Moabite? One of them was a Moabite. The other one wasn't. I don't remember which one.
Well, I guess the husband is the one who's in the heavenly tablets.
Well, I remember that one of them was a Moabite. The other one was not. So
yeah. All right, let's continue.
Yes.
For this reason, I have ordered you. Proclaim this testimony to Israel. See how it turned out for the Shechemites and their children, how they were handed over to Jacob's 2 sons. They killed them in a painful way. It was a just act for them and was recorded as a just act for them. Levi's descendants were chosen for the priesthood and as Levites to serve before the Lord as we do for all time. So I guess the author is a Levite.
Pretty pro-Levite.
Well, I mean, if we take a look at his language, just in general, yeah, you could probably tell that if he wasn't a Levite, he really had a lot of respect for.
Yeah, in the context here, it's like the angel speaking, right? So it's like the Levites are doing the act on the earth as the angels do in heaven, which was the theme that got brought up earlier.
Yeah, what verse are you on right now?
I'm on verse 18, about
18.
halfway through.
Okay.
I'll finish the verse. Levi and his sons will be blessed forever because he was eager to carry out justice, punishment, and revenge on all who rise against Israel. Latin has, instead of rise, were placed against Israel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much more to add about that. It's honestly pretty self-explanatory.
Sweet.
And if you messed up on the Ruth thing, that's on you. I wasn't here in the Ruth episode.
Yeah, that's true. You were not.
Yep, I was.
You know who we had on the Ruth episode? We had Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we also had Logic.
Oh, I wonder if either of them remember the Book of Ruth.
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay. So blessing and justice before the God of all are entered for him as a testimony on the heavenly tablets. Okay.
Yes, so
the heavenly tablets
Can be written on.
they're written on by the angels as a testimony
it's as it happens
for God.
So okay, so the angel makes explicit what he implied in verse 17. Levi's violence at Shechem earned him a blessing and a favorable entry on the heavenly tablets as having carried out justice. He did this before the God of all. The title appears several times in Jubilees, and it signifies that this God has ultimate power and control. Hence, there is no doubt about the blessing and justice credited to Levi on the heavenly tablets. On those tablets, they serve as a testimony, here apparently not in the same sense of a warning, but as a statement about his status noted in the verse. So it's it's hard to understand these heavenly tablets.
Yeah, they're a bit nonsensical.
So they are being written on as time passes with commentary, because these are not just giving the things that happened, but people also get blessings.
So there's more to this. We ourselves remember the injustice which the man performed. Remember the justice which the man performed during his lifetime at all times of the year. As far as 1,000 generations will they enter it. What is it? It will come to him and his family after him. So
Sorry,
justice.
What verse?
Verse 20.
Okay, so verse 20 here.
So they're getting justice. He has been recorded on the heavenly tablets as a friend and a just man.
Yeah. That's yeah, I have no commentary on that. What are you doing?
You have no commentary on that.
Well,
Okay.
Nothing that would help.
Great. I have written this entire message for you and have ordered you to tell the Israelites not to sin or transgress the statutes or violate the covenant that was established for them so that they should perform it and be recorded as friends. But if they transgress and behave in any impure ways, they will be recorded in the heavenly tablets as enemies. They will be erased from the book of the living and will be recorded in the book of those who will be destroyed and with those who will be uprooted from the earth. On the day that Jacob's sons killed the people of Shechem, a written notice was entered in heaven for them to the effect that they had carried out what was right, justice, and revenge against the sinners. It was recorded as a blessing.
Yes. So once again, the heavenly tablet stuff, the celestial record keeping is what it's called here. Yeah. So the unit concludes with another comment about writing in heaven. The celestial record keeping system proves to be up to date because on the very day on which Levi and Simeon carried out their attack on Shechem, an appropriate notice was placed in it. It recorded that the two brothers had acted virtuously. They exercised righteousness, justice, and revenge. The writer takes this opportunity to refer to the Shechemites as sinners, and yeah, it goes on into that. So when it comes down to these tablets in the Book of Life and stuff like that, I'm starting to think that this is kind of like almost a legal thing, like a heavenly legalistic thing. So because they even use the word testimony, our translation, testimony.
And they do use court language.
Yeah,
other
a lot. So I'm guessing that this is like the account, the master account, the objective account of things that happened. So that's why you have blessings.
But it also includes like moral statements and
that's the legal stuff, like things that are
right. But it
right
also includes historic statements and like people's names.
Yeah, that would be the testimony thing. So not only is it like a witness kind of thing.
So it's a thing that records all statements that are true, including like abstract moral statements.
It's a Santa Claus level list.
It's all things divine. All things divine and righteous and things relating to that.
Why is it a tablet? Is it like an iPad?
Yes. It's a heavenly tablet. So yes,
Damn.
it is. It's just like like the cloud.
Great. They led their sister Dinah from Shechem's house and captured everything that was in Shechem, their sheep, cattle, and donkeys, all their property and their flocks, and brought everything to their father Jacob. He spoke with them about the fact that they had killed the people of the city because he was afraid of the people who were living in the land.
Yep,
of the
that's a good
Canaanites and
reason.
the Perizzites.
I mean, you had one guy that that raped a 12-year-old or a 9-year-old, whichever one it originally was.
Between 9 and 12.
Yeah. But that gives you a good reason to be afraid of all of them and
murder
to
the
murder them. Yeah.
entire city.
Yep. That totally.
And it's justice. It's specifically
Righteous.
recorded as a blessing.
Absolutely.
A fear of the Lord was in all the cities which were around Shechem.
I'm sure.
They did not set out to pursue Jacob's sons because terror had fallen on them.
I see.
And that's the
poetic
end.
justice or whatever.
Yeah, that's the end of the chapter.
So one quick note here. So perhaps this is an interpolation. So Kugel maintains that an interpolator is responsible for much of chapter 30. One has to do a bit of hunting to find exactly which parts he attributes to the interpolator. But in the list of passages in his article, he identifies verses 8 through 17 and verses 18 through 23. So 16 of the 26 verses in the chapter are not from the author. The interpolator, according to Kugel, added verses 18 through 17 because he was concerned that the author addressed only the case of giving an Israelite woman to a foreign man and not the reverse, an Israelite man taking a foreign spouse. This led to his use of Leviticus 18:21 and his claim that it dealt with marriage in both directions. All of this went beyond what the story of Dinah communicated and the interpretation placed on it by the author of Jubilees. Kugel's argument is not convincing. As shown above, verses 5 through 10 deal with the defilement found in Genesis 34 and Leviticus 18:21 and 22 through 5 were brought in to explain the point. The next section takes up the broader application of the teaching. This was a natural step because Genesis 34, contrary to what Kugel says, does deal with marriage in both ways. So see 34:9 mentioned by the men of Shechem and 16 repeated by the sons of Jacob. The author had to deal with the issues actually raised in the text of Genesis. As he did this, he elaborated his point with the two texts from Leviticus where defiling the sanctuary and profaning the name figure. As for verses 18 through 23, Kugel makes the claim that the reason given for Levi winning the priesthood slaughter of the Shechemites contradicts the explanation given by the author in chapters 32 through 34. For example, Isaac blesses him with the priesthood in 31:14. It would be a contradiction if the text said slaughter of the Shechemites was the only way in which or reason why Levi gained the priesthood. But it says nothing of the sort. The killings at Shechem are one story about acquiring the priesthood. The others are examples of what Kugel has elsewhere called overkill and are hardly contradictory to the account in Jubilees 30. They are supplementary to it. Now, I'm not going to say that they're not contradictory. By definition, they're not.
Right.
But it is weird that you would give two reasons, and both of which seem pretty big, right? Because you have the direct blessing from Isaac, which would be huge by itself.
Yeah.
You wouldn't really need more of a reason than that. But then also the slaughter of the Shechemites, maybe not as pretty, but at least in the time of the author, it was a huge thing that was looked on as good, or he looked on it as good, at least.
Yeah, genocide. It's great.
Yeah, but they were evil. So
All of them.
apparently,
Yep. Just like all those other genocides.
Against evil people.
Okay, let's
Great.
not talk about genocides.
You know, that's the end of the show. Hey, if you enjoyed our stream today, you can donate to our 666 drive.
Yes.
Once we hit $666 in donations, we will be getting a thetan meter. We'll be seeing who's the most clear, and we'll be taking on Scientology. We also have an Amazon wish list full of books that you can add to this show or other shows. You just order us a book. And
lots of books on that wish list. Let me tell you.
We'll read it, and it'll improve the content that we produce for you. We also have a Patreon, which has all sorts of stuff on it. I mean,
yeah, you can get books. You can be on the show. You can win T-shirts.
Yeah, and those T-shirts are also on our Teespring, which you can go to independently.
Yeah, just in case you wanted to guarantee that you got that shirt.
Now, if you don't have any money,
we also have Twitter and Facebook.
Yes,
completely free to follow us there.
On those Twitter and Facebook, as far as I know, Lawrence has been posting out links to the show whenever we do it. So when we say to share, you don't even have to copy the URL. You can just go on Facebook or Twitter using the link in the description and click the share button.
Amazing.
Incredible.
Wow, technology. It's amazing.
I know. It wasn't like this back in
1998.
You remember back in
yes.
Windows
95,
98.
Windows XP too.
Yeah,
Windows
XP
ME.
was awesome. XP was the best.
Let's go back to XP.
Yeah. I guess it kind of sucks now.
At the time, it was good. Either way, thank you everyone for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the show today. Drop a like if you haven't. All that other stuff Ruben said. Links are all in the description. And until
2 days from now?
Until Sunday.
Oh, wait. The Quran script.
Oh, yes. I'll edit I'll do some of the grammar stuff and then post it.
That's going to be up on the Patreon for our $1 or more patrons. I mean, come on. That's
come on.
A whole
month.
And plus you get all the other scripts too, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You essentially get a whole library that you can access.
Yeah, damn straight. Either way, thanks everyone for joining us, and we will see you on Sunday.